Good morning, Your Highness. Getting in some early training, huh?
Oh, it's not too terribly early. And what about you?
Oh, I'm just going for my morning walk. Hey, maybe you'd like to join me. It's a great way to start the day.
Morning walk? Funny. Gustav always kept the same habit. You really do remind me of your father, Annette.
I hear that a lot. Father was always busy with work, so he wasn't around much. But when he was home, he'd often take me with him for his walks.
Annette, something's been weighing on me. Something I've done terribly wrong. Your father, he worked tirelessly. I don't know if I ever saw him take a rest. I feel as though, in a way, we stole him from you.
I'll admit it was a bit lonely growing up. But I understand. Father loved his work. No one ever doubted that. Actually, I've been thinking recently that I'd like to talk to you more, Your Highness.
Oh? Any reason in particular?
Father was a man of few words, both with myself and my mother. But sometimes he would tell me about you. So, you don't really feel like a stranger to me. In a way, it's like I've known you for a long time. Almost as though you're my big brother.
Your big brother?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I let that slip out. That was rude of me.
No, nonsense. I promise you, I don't mind at all. It's certain that my days would have been filled with more fun if I'd had a little sister like you. What kind of things did Gustav tell you about me? I'd love to hear more on this topic.
Do you really want to know? Well, for one, he used to tell this story about when you were a child and...
You know what? Never mind. I have a bad feeling about where this is going. How about you forget we had this talk altogether? And don't mention it to anyone.
Your Highness, I have a little favor to ask of you.
Of course. How may I be of assistance?
Well, I was hoping you could tell me about my father. I imagine he was a very different man at home than he was at work.
Ah, so you wish to hear about the Gustav that I knew. As you know, he was a knight who served the royal family since my grandfather's reign. To me, he was a teacher of martial arts and tactics. He was someone I depended on since I was a small child. But he was also a very stern and strict instructor.
That doesn't surprise me. He was much the same at home. He'd chide us if we made mistakes, whether it was with cooking or even how we spoke. I feel like we can talk like this because of our time at the academy. But if he saw me speaking so casually to you, oh my goodness, he would probably faint.
Is that so? Funny. I suppose in front of his family he felt the need to demonstrate proper etiquette.
Wait, are you saying that's not how he was around you?
Even all these years later, there's something I recall with perfect clarity. It happened in the autumn of my 11th year. Before the break of dawn, he woke me suddenly, said he'd heard a disturbance and had me grab my bow. Then he sent me and a fellow pupil loose on a dark mountain. Our only directive was to go catch a deer. As you well know, autumn in the capital is very cold. Now, imagine being up on the mountain at night with no idea what might jump out from the shadows. That, in a nutshell, is the Gustav I knew.
I can hardly imagine that. He was completely different with me.
I recall one other defining detail. He used to speak of you at every possible opportunity.
Really? What would he say about me?
Are you sure you want to know? There's one story he used to tell from when you were very small.
No, stop! It's probably too embarrassing to bear. Is it?
Perhaps.
Look, I'll promise to forget the stories he told me about you if you return the favor. Deal?
Yes, that seems the only thing to do. It's a promise.
Your Highness, I have one more favor to ask.
Is this about Gustav again? I have plenty more stories about him, but perhaps it is time for you to speak with him yourself.
Oh, it's not about Father this time. This time I wanted to ask about you.
About me?
I mean, heard all about Father last time, but I didn't ask about you.
Ah, well, I'm afraid there is not much of interest for me to tell you.
Oh, it doesn't have to be funny or interesting. That's not why I'm asking. It's just that I thought I already knew you, but I'm not sure I really do. That day when we were reunited at the monastery, I didn't know what to say to you. So I wanted to prepare some of your favorite food. I thought maybe if you ate something that you liked, you'd cheer up a little. But when I got to the kitchen, I realized I didn't even know what you like to eat.
I see. Well, it's a little hard to say what my favorite is. I just don't really have any strong feelings about food. That said, you're pretty keen on sweet things, right, Annette?
Yes, that's right. I'm at my happiest when I'm digging into a sweet treat. Oh, did you know there's a famous sweet shop in the capital?
Yes. It often had long lines outside, didn't it? The castle guards often spoke of it.
The sweets were so good. They cost a fortune, but I loved them. When Father was still around, we all lived as a family in the capital. Since then, I've had them only a few times. How I'd love to taste them again.
Say, Annette, when this war is over, where will you go? I heard that you were close to Baron Dominic back in the academy days.
That's right. But 5 years ago, my uncle betrayed the kingdom and went over to the Empire's side. I reconnected with Father, so I'd like to live with my family again, in the capital. Also, if I'm in the capital, I'll be able to see you from time to time, right?
Ah, that settles it then. We'll have to get your father working twice as hard.
Father's at a ripe old age now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't work him too hard.
Oh, of course. I will keep that in mind.
Your Highness, thank you for everything.
This is sudden. Why so formal? You are not about to tell me you intend to leave the army, are you?
Oh no, it's not that. I just had the chance to return to the capital on military business. It had really been a long time. Life's pretty hard there right now, but its old vitality seems to be returning bit by bit. If it wasn't for you, I'm sure things wouldn't be looking so promising. So...
Come now, no need to exaggerate. Do not forget that I abandoned them and fled once as well.
You had no choice. If you had remained in the capital, you would have been killed. If you keep thinking so dark and gloomy, you're gonna end up looking just like Father.
Annette, you probably do not realize, but over those 5 years, I took many lives. I slaughtered generals and officials alike with brutality you would scarcely think a human was capable of. And as I have intensified my fight with the Empire, how many people have fallen in the capital? My hands are already dripping with blood. I cannot be forgiven.
You really are a lot more like Father than I am. Before Father left us, he used to say similar things. I don't want you to end up like him. So, I've been thinking, when this war is over, I was wondering whether I could help you with your work. Of course, I don't know how much I'd be able to support a king.
What are you saying?
If I leave you to your own devices, you'll forget how to laugh. We can't have that. You won't be able to do what you have to do with such a miserable look on your face. So, if you'll have me, I'd like to stay by your side. If you're sad or suffering, I'll just starve you until you muster a smile.
Starve me?
Hey, you weren't supposed to laugh at that part. I thought a lot about this.
Sorry, I could not help myself. Certainly with you around, I will not have any cause to frown. By all means, join me, Annette. And never lose that sweet smile of yours.
Yes, I promise.